Did what we had to do. Steelers finished the 2023/2024 season 10-7 record. Now you know what we need. We need this tie tonight, Texans Colts, or we need the Jaguars to lose to the Titans, or like Cam Sack says in the chat, we need the Bills to lose to the Dolphins. First option, I would love it if we could just get this tie tonight. We could be sleeping good, don't have to worry about anything throughout the course of Sunday. Then the next thing, Jaguars Titans. I think it's doable. Is Trevor Lawrence even playing yet? I haven't gotten any updates, but based off Ian Rappaport's report, there's a chance that he wasn't going to be able to go. And then Bills Dolphins, that one's for the AFC East. Who knows? Coin toss type of game down in Miami. But yeah, we did what we had to do in this one. I think the game, we can all agree, was pretty lackluster, lackadaisical. I also labeled it as snooze fest for the most part. Outside of that Mason slant pass to Deontay that got taken to the house, it was just conservative ball on both sides. And it's understandable because of the conditions. Both teams were playing not to lose. Who was going to make the stupid mistakes? Who was going to cough the ball up? And I think we both did an equal amount of times, or at least we lost the ball an equal amount of times. Let me check the box score real quick. Yeah, 2 fumbles lost for the Ravens, 2 fumbles lost for us. It did feel like we put the ball on the ground way more, though. Mason had a few fumbles. Jaylen Warren, bro, was there like 3 or 4 times he had some ball security issues in this one? It had to have been 3 or 4 times. That was terrible. I thought we were past that with him. It's popped up like once or twice this season, but I didn't think it was going to be like this today. Just because of the rain, like what happened there? I have no clue. And if anything, that goes hand in hand with the people that are Najee RB1 type of dudes. They're like, yeah, there's a reason Najee's RB1. He doesn't put the ball on the ground. He also had a $112 today, which gets him 1,000 yards for 3 straight seasons. He's the only Steeler to do that. Do you see the stat on the bottom of the ESPN broadcast? I'm surprised by that. I would have thought like Franco Harris or someone did it. Someone else. Shout out to Najee, man. I think I already gave him a formal apology, no? I gave him a formal apology weeks ago. He's part of the squad. He's part of this RB duo. Jaylen Warren, he's still effective when he gets the ball. You can still see it. You can see the pop. You can see the splash that he gives. But you can't be putting the ball on the ground like that. And with how Najee Harris was running it today, we didn't need to risk it as much. You see the carry distribution. Najee Harris, 26 carries. Jaylen Warren, 9. Najee even got some in the passing game. 5 receptions, 21 yards. Jaylen Warren had 5. Yeah, they were steady. I mean, we had a $155 on the ground total. Big part of the game. That was our approach, clearly, from the start of it. We're going to run the ball. And I get it. We're not going up against Lamar Jackson. We're going up against Tyler Huntley. How many times throughout the game when the Ravens had the ball on offense were you thinking, they had that one nice drive early on, but that was it. Outside of the garbage time where they just put up the field goal at the end of the game, they really only put up 7 points. And with us, dude, if we don't put those 2 balls on the ground, we could have won this. We could have won this 23-10. We could have won this by double digits easily. We could have been going into halftime up 13-7 if it wasn't for that. Yeah, the fumbles killed us. The fumbles killed us early on. Ultimately, we got the dub, man. Ultimately, we did what we had to do. Mason, it was a little bit more of a rough road than his previous 2 starts. But again, just like the Steelers' offense in general and like our approach to this game in general, it's understandable. You're not trying to make the big mistake, although he almost did with his first pass. Almost threw that pick right out of the gates. But 18 for 20 with Mason, 95%, $152, 1 touchdown. Got the dub, 115 rating. Good. Definitely good. No question about it. Who we got in the house right now? Oh, my. This is a great point. D-Max. No holding calls all game. Refs are horrible. Did you guys see some of those holdings on Highsmith? It was so blatant. I'm like, how are they just gonna let this one slide? How is that gonna happen? X Concepts one. Thanks for reminding me. Says Deke wanted to trade Najee for Abanikanda. Might not be aging too well. I'm telling you though, he's gonna be a good running back. I promise you that. But we do see, as we have done the last 2 seasons, and then if you want to include this one, the last 3 seasons with Najee, his first 3 years, usually when you hit the end of it, you're like, "Yeah, I see why we keep Najee around. I see why he has value." And we got to see that again for the last month with him, and then in particular this game. Jaylen Warren gives us the home run threat, but when you need some security, you need those tough yards. Najee's been delivering, particularly later in the season when the weather gets colder. You got to appreciate Najee for that. You got to tip your cap to him for that. Chris Richmond, we're talking about TJ says likely sprained MCL. Is that what he got? I thought initially it was ACL. They showed the replay. I'm like, that doesn't look like an ACL. It didn't look that bad. I thought it was just going to be like a knee bruise, and he was going to get back out there. But MCL, yeah, he's going to be out. That's going to suck. That's terrible. He's going to miss the playoffs. D-Max. All right. This is actually a good point, too. And I was going to talk about this with Mason as to why Mason also didn't have as good of a game in this one versus his first 2. Dan Moore was struggling out there. There was some pressure collapsing in on Mason. And give credit to the Ravens. They are a good defense. And that's even if they were sitting some starters. Ravens, no matter who's out there, they're a well-coached team. We know who the Ravens are. They're typically always going to have a good defense. They're always going to have some good edge rush. They're going to have some good D linemen and getting pressure on quarterbacks and being able to stop the run. And you know what? Like, we stuck with it. As much as it wasn't the prettiest at times, we stuck with the run and got a $155 on the Baltimore Ravens defense. So that's more of a positive in our direction because, again, even though the Ravens didn't have everyone out there, $155, that's saying something. But Dan Moore was not good. Dan Moore was not good. Our pass protection in general wasn't that great. Yeah, some of Mason's ball security issues were due to that, but some of them were on him too. Catch the snap, bro. Mason Cole didn't have any terrible snaps this one. But the one that we almost lost, that was just due to you taking your eye off. I don't know what he was doing there. Don't know what he was doing. HB Roulette asked, also, do you expect Rudolph to be back next season? Definitely. We got to wait and see what happens with these other teams. But let's just say if the season ends right now, we're at 10-7, we don't get into the playoffs, you got to bring Rudolph back. And I think he played good enough in this one, plus the first 2 games. You put his whole body work together from the 2023 season, I think that's good enough to compete for QB1 with Kenny Pickett next year. I think that's good enough. Now, I don't know if you bring in another veteran quarterback, you draft a guy later in the draft, add him in the mix. Who knows? But I think right now Mason deserves to come back. If he wants to come back, Steelers should make the offer. Steelers should rip up Mitch's contract, cut him, give that to Mason, give him like 1 year, 7.5, 2 years with some type of option in the second year for like 14 million. You know what I mean? In that range, between like 6, 7, 9, 10 million. And you say, we're going to give you a chance to compete for QB1. We'll give you an honest competition. Now, will Mason believe our word on that? I don't know. He has every right not to. He's been kicked in the nuts so many times being a part of the Steelers organization. But I think Steelers are one of, if not the only team out there that would actually give Mason a shot to be a starter next year. If he were to go somewhere else, I think teams would just be offering a backup or a QB2 spot. But the season isn't over yet. So Mason could still write more of a story for 2023, or I guess 2024 now in these playoffs. He balls out in the playoffs, then That number goes up, and then you're having different conversations about competition versus Pickett. Who knows? We just got to see how it looks. There's a lot of things up in the air right now. But Mason has continued to play good. Not a coincidence, man. Not a coincidence. I got the jersey on, and we're 3-0 ever since I popped the tags. Ever since I made it official, so there's no going back. We got this Mason Rudolph jersey. We're 3-0, but I also think it's not a coincidence that the offense is playing as good as it is right now, because Mason is playing good. He's just flat out playing good. We got two awesome performances, two of the best quarterback performances we've seen over the last 2 years in that Cincy game and Seattle game. And then he adds it up with this one on the road against Baltimore. It wasn't the prettiest, but when push came to shove, he made the throw to Deontay Johnson to win the game. And he was 18 for 20. Outside of that first pass, didn't put the ball in harm's way. Now, he did have some ball security issues with fumbling and stuff, but was rainy. I guess we could give him the benefit of the doubt. We don't give Jaylen Warren the benefit of the doubt, though. We don't do that because this has popped up too many times with him in his first 2 years here. Way too many times. So it's not just the rain with Jaylen Warren. That enabled him to cough up the ball at a higher clip, but he's had some issues with fumbling. Mason Rudolph, we haven't really seen that on tape with him yet. All right, what is it? Can anyone tell me what this is? D-Max, breaking news, grade 3 MCL strain for TJ. So he's out for the playoffs? That sounds bad. I got to assume that's what that means. Maybe he could be back for the Super Bowl or something if we make it there. But MCL is not. Isn't that what Jalen Ramsey had? He missed like 2 months. He was supposed to miss all the way till December, but he came back early. Yeah, HB Roulette said 100% out. Yeah, that sucks. Multi-week injury. Adam Schefter report. All right, maybe he can come back later in the playoffs then. If it's the AFC Championship, Super Bowl, you get the extra week off. That hurts though, bro, because TJ Watt is a catalyst for our Super Bowl run. He's a catalyst. Why can't we just have nice things, man? That just seems to be the story of this Steelers season. The story of these last like 3 or 4 Steelers seasons. Just when things are going good, we're finally getting healthy on defense. We just went on a 3-game winning streak. If we make the playoffs, we're a hot team. Now we lose our best defensive player in TJ Watt. Minka probably will be back next week if we get in. Casey will be back. Landon Roberts played today. Getting healthy. Everything seems like it's pointing in the right direction with this defense. The offense looking good with Mason. TJ Watt out. Great. Jay Brown Steelers asked, are you really thinking this team makes a Super Bowl run? Why not? We could beat any of these AFC teams. I know we just beat the Ravens with Tyler Huntley, but we also beat them with Lamar Jackson in week 5. And them and the 49ers are the best 2 teams this season in the regular season. They've been the best 2 teams. And we beat the Ravens 2 times. I get this last one, Tyler Huntley, blah, blah, blah. But then you go through the rest of the list of these AFC playoff teams. The Chiefs, very vulnerable. Miami, they're getting hurt all over on their defensive side too. I don't think Tua is a big game guy. I'll believe it when I see it. Find out what he can do in the playoffs. Let's see what his mental toughness is made of. Let's see if he could actually perform when the lights are on like that. I'll believe it when I see it. And then who else we got in the AFC? Browns. Browns is the Browns. We beat them 1 time. Second time, almost had them. Should have had them. They ain't above reproach. Bills, same thing. They're really banged up on defense. Yeah, Josh Allen's good, but he turns the ball over a ton. They barely got out of the stadium with the Patriots. They barely beat the Easton Stick Chargers. So, yeah, I actually do think this team can make it run based off how we're playing right now. This TJ injury sucks, though. I mean, it hurts our chances. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Chris Richmond's with me. He says, why can't we make a run? We get hot late in the year. We were starting to look like an offense again, and Minka's coming back. That's what I'm saying. That's definitely what I'm saying. Does anyone have a legit case for Kenny Pickett to start in the playoffs? I can't do it. And you guys know me. I'm not off Kenny Pickett. I still think he can be our guy. I still think he could be a solid NFL quarterback. He could be a franchise guy. And that could be here for 2024 next season. But I think rest of this year's is Mason Rudolph's team. Kenny Pickett wins. How many times have I said that? Every time Kenny Pickett is in the game, we got a winning record. Like, you total all that out. We win games. Hasn't always been the prettiest, particularly this year. Dude wins games. Right now, I get it. Small sample. Mason Rudolph's winning more. 100%. 3-0. I can't really think of a case. I think Mason Rudolph played well enough in this one. And considering the circumstance, I just think he played damn good overall. He played damn good. 18 for 20. Right to Deontay. One needed. Get that game-winning touchdown there. And then you add the other two performances, Cincy and Seattle. I don't think it's a debate. I think you got to stick with Mason for the rest of the year. HB Roulette says Mason went 18 for 20 today. That's nuts. I will say this, that they weren't – I'd say 5 of them were, like, legit passes. You know what I mean? Like, legit. Oh, okay. All right. That took some talent there. A bunch of other ones were just dump-offs. Dump off to Jaylen Warren. Because Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren combined had 10 receptions. But he had some good ones, man. There was that one he got right in between the zone. I thought it was going to be picked. Really good one there. You think of his 2 incompletions, too. The only 2 incompletions were at the beginning of the game, almost threw the pick, and then the one where he floated that one to Deontay down the sideline. You guys tell me if I'm off on this one. I thought Deontay should have caught that. It landed right in front of his face. I don't know if he lost the ball in the lights, but that was a good throw by Mason. I thought it was worth the risk for sure. Why not? It wasn't an interceptable ball. I mean, if someone was going to catch it, it was going to be Deontay. I don't understand why he didn't lay out for it or put any more effort into it. He might have just lost it. Because Mason threw that pretty high. That looked like a Russell Wilson rainbow ball. That thing was up in the air for a minute. Let me see what else I got here. We talked Najee and Jaylen. We talked Mason. Yeah, overall, the game was just pretty conservative. I don't really have huge takeaways. Shout out to the defense as a whole. Because I mentioned, Tyler Huntley and that Ravens offense was not much of a threat. Eric Rowe. Some of these guys we pulled up on the street over the last month make an impact. Eric Rowe, 12 total tackles. Pass deflection. Didn't he have the forced fumble too? He punched that one out late in the game. TJ Watt was incredible. You know, we are going to talk TJ Watt in a little bit. The defensive player of the year talk. It's just ridiculous if he doesn't win. It's just asinine if he doesn't win. Mark Robinson probably had his best game of the year. Had a good showing against the Ravens late last season, so maybe it's something about going up against Baltimore, but he had tackles, 5 of them, tackle for loss, had that big-time sack, a QB hit. He had a forced fumble, too. It was like him and Miles Jack. That might have been the first Ravens fumble. Him and Miles Jack were in on that tackle. Miles Jack still playing solid. Keanu Benton, we know what he does. Yeah, just good overall showing. I liked Highsmith. He was getting to the quarterback. He was getting pressure. It sucks because I actually think he's having a pretty good season. The stats aren't showing it, though. It's almost like his 2021 season where I think he had around, it was 6.5 or 7 sacks, but he had so many tackles for loss. He probably could have had like 5 or 6 more sacks. It was just the quarterback literally got rid of the ball right as Highsmith was hitting him. And this one feels the same way. He's getting pressure. I always see him around the quarterback. He just hasn't been able to close. But you know what? I'm going to segue that into the defensive player of the year talk because you know who does close? You know who actually puts up stats? You know who actually is leading the league in sacks? TJ Watt. He had 2 more today, so he had 17 coming into this one. He has 19. If you go side by side, TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett Myles Garrett is the favorite right now. And then also another guy that's favored ahead of TJ Watt is Michael Parsons. You go side by side, all three of those dudes. TJ Watt has the better stats across the board. He has more sacks. And I thought sacks mattered for awards, right? Whenever I was talking about Highsmith, it's like you can watch the game and you can see the stats don't tell the whole story with him. But there is also something to closing and getting the stats and getting the sacks and getting to the quarterback. There's something to that. And that's why we give awards out to people, is because they can close, they can finish the deal. And TJ Watt does that. It's not all about these advanced analytics and win rate, all that other BS. TJ Watt clears everyone else. And the stats that I thought always mattered for an awards. I don't know why the narrative's getting switched up now. The anti-biasness towards whether it's the Steelers or TJ Watt or the favoritism for Myles Garrett is just, it's getting out of hand. It's out of hand. Like, what has Myles Garrett done better than TJ Watt this season? You can't tell me. I think I saw a stat on Twitter. Actually, TJ Watt in today's game with the 2 sacks, he has just as many sacks as Myles Garrett has over like the last like month or so, month and a half. That's your DPOY? Okay. Fake DPOY. That's fine. Not my DPOY. TJ Watt's the DPOY. Hopefully he can get back for the Super Bowl if we make that run. But yeah, it doesn't add up. TJ dominant. If he doesn't get hurt, he probably gets another sack or two. He probably breaks 20 sacks on the season. Didn't Golden get one? In TJ's absence, yeah, he had one out there. This doesn't make sense. I'm trying to refresh the chat. I don't know what's going on here. Am I still live? I'm still with you guys. I don't know what the chat's not refreshing on me. Hold on, give me a sec. Let me try again. Okay, I'm back. Don Pauly says it's political, bro. Nothing new. Maybe they just want to create a new narrative. They want to get a new storyline. Just because Myles Garrett or Michael Parsons doesn't have a DPOY, they want to stir up the pot. How about you just give it to the guy that's most deserving, and that's TJ Watt. And he got snubbed out of one, whether you want to call it in 2019 or in 2020. Should have 2 right now. This year would be his 3rd, but unfortunately, he only has 1 to his name. He's probably going to get snubbed out of this one, too. Terrible. Terrible. AJ Steelers says, what's our path? To what, the Super Bowl or just the playoffs? The playoffs, we need a tie tonight for Colts Texans, or if that doesn't happen, it's likely not to happen. I got a weird feeling though. It's Colts Texans. That could be a tie. D-Max says NFL pushing Garrett before the season started. Dude, they put him on their banner. They made him like he was like their Twitter profile picture. And they put as the caption, they put like for it, they're like about info on Twitter. They said Myles Garrett for DPOY ? When has he ever done anything better than TJ Watt? Why doesn't TJ Watt get this treatment? It's insane. Absolutely insane. Cool. Myles Garrett was the 1st overall pick. Cool. TJ Watt has done more than him in the league. I don't understand. I get Myles Garrett has the physical prototype you're looking for in an edge rusher. I get that all-world talent. That's why he was drafted number 1 overall. But in terms of just straight production and being the better player, it's 90 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. How's it even a debate, bro? Like, it's not even a debate. I shouldn't even be talking about this. It's the stupidest thing I'm talking about this, really. But let me I'm sorry. I got off track there. AJ said, what's our path? Yeah, we need a tie tonight. If that doesn't happen, we need Jaguars loss tomorrow. It's a 1 o'clock game, so that's our next best option. They play the Titans, which who knows? Titans at home versus Jaguars. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is playing. Does anyone have the scoop on that yet? If it's not him, it's CJ Beathard. He's not good, obviously. But even if Lawrence plays, he's going to be banged up. And The thing that's in the Titans' favor is Mike Vrabel is not happy. You saw him in his press conference. He just simply wants to win games, even though it might be his last year with Tennessee. I think he's going to want to go out with a bang. But also, it could be Derrick Henry's last game in Tennessee. So I think he's going to want to run pretty hard. Leave the Titans fans entertained on potentially his last game there. And then the last option would be if we don't get the Jaguars loss, we need the Bills to lose to Miami on Sunday Night Football. That's our path right now. Yep, Dead Ringer 21. Because can get in with a Buffalo L as well. Yep. Yep. We just gotta wait and see now. I really hope we can get this tie tonight. We can sleep tight. Saturday night heading into Sunday. We could just chill all day Sunday, enjoy the games, stress-free, knowing we got our playoff spot locked up. And then we just got to worry about the seed and who we're going to play. I can't believe TJ Watt's out there. I keep going back to that. I'm talking about the playoffs, but we're not going to have TJ Watt. What a bummer, bro. Now, I do think Herbig and Golden and Highsmith, I think those dudes are capable. Not doing what TJ Watt does, but capable of getting something together. We could put pressure on the quarterback, and they could be some type of a decent replacement. Like when you combine everyone and their abilities and what they bring to the table together. Yes, D-Max. I said this earlier. So shout out to Cole. No bad snaps in the rain. Yeah. It was in the rain, too. Could have been real easy for him to throw one at Mason's feet. Yins DB's 5-3 says, Deke, what do you think about the stat with Garrett having the highest success rate per rep? I don't even know what it means. I honestly don't even know what it means. I know what a sack means. You tackle the quarterback, and he's not able to pass the ball off and get a completion and the positive play for his offense. I know what that means. I don't know what all that means. High success rate per rep. Okay, cool. Offense may have had a good play on one of those high success reps from Garrett. What does it mean? I thought closing matters. I thought getting the job done mattered. It should. It should. I guess the award isn't named just yet, but just seeing some of these Vegas odds has me concerned. Has me sad. Like, there's no reason TJ Watt should be the third favorite for the DPOY. Dead Ringer 21 says, let's be honest, Mason made Myles Garrett famous. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Myles Garrett is a legit player. He's a top 3 or 4 edge rusher. The guys that are in that conversation, in that class, it's TJ Watt, it's Nick Bosa, it's Myles Garrett, and it's Michael Parsons. Whatever way you want to order them, TJ Watt's one. And then you could talk about the other 3 in whatever order you want to talk about. But, yeah, Myles Garrett is one of the best edge rushers in the league. Let's not get it twisted, but he's not TJ Watt. That's all I'm saying. That's not a crazy thing to say. TJ Watt already has a Hall of Fame career right now. Yeah, X concepts 1. This is the point I've been saying the whole time. TJ's interceptions, pass deflections, tackles for loss, forced fumbles, fumble recovery, sacks, and he says, et cetera, all better than Myles Garrett. No question. Does anyone have any takeaways from this game that I missed? I don't think there were big takeaways. We played conservative, tried not coughing the ball. We did cough the ball a little bit too many times. Got lucky on a few. Ultimately, we only had 2 turnovers. Ravens had 2 turnovers. Back and forth game. We ran the ball really good. We sustained some decent drives. Weren't able to punch it in the red zone as often as we would have liked, or at least just kick a field goal because of some of those turnovers. But we made the big play late, Mason to Deontay, and that broke it open, got us up. And then we played sound defense towards the end and closed it out. The clock became our friend, and that was that. Yeah, T. Dowdy. Keon Benton was a beast again. Yeah, give him a shout-out. He's good. B-Mac, okay. Yeah, here's a take I didn't mention. The punting, Presley Harvin. He says Harvin has got awful. Tough season for him. And then especially you see Braden Mann, he's like one of the top 3 or 4 punters on his new respective team. What team is he on? It's not the Jets. Is it the Eagles? It's one of the green teams. But he's like one of the top 3 or 4 punters. We had Mann in this offseason for a competition with Harvin for the Steelers starting punter spot. We ended up going with Harvin. Man signed somewhere else and has been a better punter than Harvin this year. No doubt about it. He's too up and down. He has some really nice ones though. There's no question, but there's way too many shanks. We'll bring in competition. I don't doubt it. And I think this offseason will be more apt to move on from Harvin. Steel Ninja offensive play calling was great. Yeah. I wish we would have passed it more. I was saying this throughout, like, because you saw Tyler Huntley. There was the one drive you got to see Tyler Huntley throw the ball, and the Ravens scored a touchdown. I'm like, Mason can do that. Like, there's no reason why we can't do that. But then you saw for most of our dropbacks, like in the middle of the game, the Ravens were getting a ton of pressure on two, a ton of pressure. So it was smart for us, just with how the game flowed, to keep running the rock. I didn't like some of our outside runs, and I think Orlowski said it on the broadcast. Let's just stick to running the ball up the middle because that's where we were having our most success. It wasn't always the prettiest, but we were getting 3-4 yards of pop, and then occasionally Najee would break one off for like 10, 11, or 12. Jiram X says, who you want us to see in the playoffs, D? Any team. I just want to make the playoffs. It's whatever. I think any of these AFC teams are beatable. Calvin Austin. Okay, this is good here. Oh, you know what? Thank you for bringing up Calvin Austin the punt because that just sparked my memory about special teams in general. How about Igwabuke's A-plus play? He did what Gunner tried to do. Remember, Gunner tried to catch it like with his foot out of bounds, so we would get the ball at the 40. Instead, he toe tapped it inbound. We had to get the ball like at the 8 or something. A Monday night game against the Browns. He did the most boneheaded play you could do or you could make as a return man. Igwabuke does the opposite. Ball is just killing them. Like, you know what? Let me step out of bounds. When I touch the ball, it's going to be an out of bounds penalty on the kick for the Ravens, and we're going to get it at the 40. A-plus play. Absolutely A-plus play. Such a heady move by him. Shout out. I love seeing that. That was awesome. And then Calvin Austin. I thought Calvin Austin had some good returns. He really did. Ball security was an issue for him, but I guess it wasn't a ball security. Like, ball security was an issue for everyone this game. It was just rough. It was rough. That can't keep continuing. But you did have the elements. Football Jesus. How come they didn't get bored with Aaron Donald winning DPOY yet they find every reason to not give it to Watt? I don't know, bro. I don't know. No clue. You know what? I'm going to finish off with this one. I just thought this was funny because I don't know when my next stream's going to be here. It might be this week. But did you guys see the Chipotle tweet yesterday with Kenny Pickett? Did you guys see that? Let me pull it up. Some dude on the Chipotle account decided to be funny guy. He probably didn't mean to. I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. They deleted the tweet though. They didn't even stand by it. So Chipotle had some type of tweet, and we had this Steeler account, Pickett Muse, respond to the Chipotle tweet. They can't spell greedy without giving your fans a BOGO. So he was busting Chipotle's truck. He was getting on him a little bit. He was roasting him a little bit. And Chipotle responded, can't spell Pickett without bust. And then he signs it, Scott. What was Scott doing, bro? Scott, you're fired. You are fired. I'm not eating Chipotle anymore. I'm good on that. I'm going to go Chick-fil-A. I'm going to go Popeyes. And I'll go Giant Eagle rotisserie chicken for my chicken fix now on. No more Chipotle. I do like Chipotle too, but nah, you can't be slandering Pickett like that, bro. Nah, we don't mess with that. Nah, they deleted they didn't even stand by it. I don't know what happened here. Was Scott trying to reply with his own account? But it ended up being the Chipotle. I don't know. I have no clue what happened. But yeah, you can't be doing that with Pickett. And Pickett's not a bust. No. He's not a bust. But I will say this: Mason Rudolph has been playing better than him this year, so that's why we're gonna be rolling with him into the playoffs if we do eventually make it. Did you guys see that tweet? This was so random, so random. That was funny. But yeah, nah, I'm off Chipotle. Although there's probably going to be a lot of Steeler fans that will eat Chipotle more because of this. Because I'd say right now, 95% of Steeler Nation are Pickett haters. 90 to 95%. But all right, guys, that's all I got for you. Good way to finish the season. Hopefully, this isn't the end. TJ Watt getting hurt, big time bummer. Big time bummer. But I thought this was a good show. Shout out to stop for stopping through. Where's the lie? Nah, he's not a bust. I told you that. It's not that Kenny Pickett's bad. It's not that Kenny Pickett's thick. It's just Mason Rudolph has been playing better. I think we're in the playoffs right now if Kenny Pickett didn't get hurt. I stand by that. Stand by it. But does Kenny Pickett give us the Mason Rudolph performances that we got in the Bengals game and the Seahawks game? That's up for debate because we haven't seen it from Pickett just yet. I think he can, but now we're talking hypothetically. I think he can. I think he could do this. But Mason actually did it. He's 3-0, and that's why we're going to be sticking with him. But yeah, Chipotle out of pocket there. I'm banning Chipotle. Boycotting Chipotle for the foreseeable future. Stay chilling, guys. I'll see you. I don't know. I'll let you know when I'm going to be back because my schedule might be in flux here depending on if the Steelers make it or not. And that'll also determine the type of streams we do. Because if we don't make it, we'll be doing some off-season streams. If we do make it, I'm sure we'll be just locked in and focused and doing our normal thing. But stay chilling. Here we go, Steelers.